Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of That's Normal's Boozy Book Club. We are live on YouTube this week. Apparently, Google Hangouts, which is what we normally use for all of our hangouts, including Hangoutlander and Boozy Book Club and Talking Normal, which we haven't done in 2 years. All of those hangouts live on Google Hangouts, which is super easy to use and fun and so intuitive. And now it's switched over to YouTube Live, which is supposed to be exactly as intuitive, and it is not. So that's why we're 8 minutes late with Boozy Book Club. But welcome. Glad that you're here. If you're joining us for the very first time, Boozy Book Club is our monthly book club at That's Normal, where we read 2 books, because some people have read the one that we're reading and some people don't like that kind of book, and we try to do a mix of genres, and that way everybody has something for the month that they enjoy reading. And then we get drunk and review it online, live. It is ridiculous. And it is the cause of many, many reasons why I can't go ask for a job at certain places, probably, because they'll be like, no, I've seen you on the internet, and it's awful. So welcome. If you're listening to us for the first time on our podcast, hi. The podcast doesn't go up as quickly as the live hangout does, so hopefully you're hearing this sometime in October-ish, but this is our September book club. This month we read Leave Me by Gayle Forman. This is her first debut as an adult author, and we read American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which is one of my favorites, and I've read several times, and I love it, so I'm excited to talk about that. I'm Beth. I'm having Pinot Grigio, because it should be not hot outside, but it is really hot outside, and I'm going to introduce you guys to our panel. This is Amy. Amy, say hello. Tell us what you're drinking.
Hello, I'm Amy. I'm drinking a Pinot Noir that tastes okay, but when I stick my giant nose in the glass, it smells like asshole. But I'll keep drinking it because it's all I got.
As someone who also has a giant nose, do you think it's our nose's fault when our wine tastes bad?
Because I can get down in there in the nasty.
Exactly. I don't know.
The schnapps needs to be good for something.
Yeah. My daughters make fun of mine all the time. It's the meanest thing they do. And they're mean, like, all the time. All right. Courtney, say hello. Courtney is new to Hangouts. Hello, Courtney.
Hello.
Tell us who you are. Tell us what you do for That's Normal, where you live, your social security number.
Yeah. I am Courtney. I do Pinterest for That's Normal, and I am in Texas, and I am drinking Shinerbach because Texas forever.
Oh, is that a Texas beer?
It's a super Texas beer.
I don't know shit about where things are.
You should drink a Shiner. It'll make you happy.
Courtney does a great job on Pinterest.
Thank you.
Good at that.
I try.
What makes a beer super Texas?
It's just, if you ask a Texan, if you come to Texas and you say, what's a local beer? What's a Texas beer I should drink? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you Shinerbach.
Gotcha.
Brewed in Shiner, Texas.
Okay, so it's a local beer.
Forever local, like 18 something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I drink a lot of local Memphis beers, but they're all like, they've been around for 5 years since craft brewing was
microbrews.
Like
yeah,
right. Yeah,
we have a lot of those too.
Yeah,
made by a guy with a man bun.
Some really, really ridiculously hot guys, and then guys that are not hot at all. And there's always it's both. It's never like just medium attractiveness.
No, it's one or the other. Yeah.
Instead of the hot guys of Philadelphia sports thing we've been doing, that's what we should do. Like hot guys of your local brewery.
Yes.
Hot local brewmasters. That's normal.
I support that.
I'm 100% down for that, except I would have to go talk to them. And at least the ones in Memphis. We have another newbie tonight who's popping her hangout cherry. Danelle, say hello. Tell us what you do for That's Normal, what you're drinking.
Well, hi. I'm actually drinking water, which is really boring.
Yes.
But I don't know why. My kids just went to bed, and it's just been crazy today. I'm in Texas for That's Normal. I do some of the book reviews, and I also put things on Facebook. So
that's right. When you see good links that are well researched, have good pictures with them, it's usually Danelle doing that, not me. because I do that for a living, so I don't like to do it for That's Normal. I'm like, put some shit up there. Nobody cares. Nobody's reading That's Normal's Facebook page. I'm just kidding. I love it.
Janelle's also very good at defending us That's Normal authors in the comment section from the Outlander haters.
She's a good honor defender. She is.
Absolutely. If you come in actually us, Danelle is going to be the one that's like, step off. It's fantastic. I'm not good at that. I'm 100% a people pleaser. I go in with like, thank you so much for commenting and this.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. People comment.
Good. We need that.
I don't care about being nice.
I don't know why I care about being nice. There's not a single person that knows me in real life that's like, she's so sweet. Because I'm not sweet. But I really do care about making people have like a good time. Like, I don't want people to be offended. I'm really very aware of that. Like, I am totally a people pleaser, but I'm not nice. I think it's like, we don't need to psychoanalyze like my whole personality, but I'm pretty sure that people would think I'm one of the meanest people they know, but I'm not mean to them. Does that make sense?
Yes. You offer up a lot of bless your hearts on your daily basis.
I have a lot of strong opinions. It's not even necessarily about other people. It's just about things, gun control, makeup,
climate change.
I just have thoughts about things, and I let those thoughts be known in a loud and vociferous manner. Most people don't like that, and it makes them think that I'm a mean person. Just opinionated woman. I'm just a Clinton-ish. All right.
Right.
Let's get into Leave Me, you guys. Leave Me by Gayle Forman. And I'm going to be honest. We picked this book because Gayle Forman, for the most part, writes YA that really resonates and is really, really great. Book, however, I think we're not going to talk about our consensus yet, but I have a feeling we're not going to come to the same opinion that we had about Where She Went, which is her best book so far. Have you guys ever read Gayle Forman before?
I avoid
Nobody?
YA at all possible costs.
Really?
That's my strong opinion.
That's really sad. I love YA. Although I don't read a whole lot of it anymore. But Gayle's really great. Like, I went out, I jumped up a set of chairs once to go meet Gayle, go talk to her at a festival. I was like, hey. I had a sort of friend, like a friend of a friend who's a YA author sitting next to me, and I was like, hey, can you go tell Gayle who I am? And she was like, you aren't anybody. Like, who am I going to tell her that you are? You aren't anybody.
Rando.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So this book, if you don't know the premise, which why are you listening to Boozy Book Club about Leave Me if you've never heard of the book? But the book is supposed to be like, the way that she touted it a couple of times was about this fantasy that all mothers have of leaving. In fact, I think it's on the book jacket or in the summary that every mother wants to just keep going on the interstate and not come home. And so we should all be able to relate to Mary Beth. And we're all mothers on this panel. Do you relate to Mary Beth? And if you do, what do you relate to?
No. I find, well, how much do you want me to dig into this right now? So
I want the positives. What do you relate to? If you don't relate at all, hold it. If there's any relation, let's hear it.
I can relate to her having a husband who is kind of clueless and does dick all when it comes to things with the children. But what I cannot relate to, and this is maybe this is a character flaw of my own, I find it hard to have empathy for these women who are so harried by everything that happens in their daily lives. And if you're going broke so you can continue to live in New York, I also don't have a lot of empathy for that. So while I felt like this was an amazing premise, I thought that she really failed to deliver a character that would make me care about this premise, which is a woman has this major health scare is probably experiencing almost like a version of postpartum, but like post-stint depression, I don't know what you call it, and then runs away. But I don't think the author failed to deliver a character that could pull that off to make me care.
Well, she lives in New York City. She's a writer. She's an author who's, I think, lived in New York City for forever. Yeah. And I feel like she was writing it from her experience, and that's fine. I mean, everybody's got their own like insulated experience, but a New York City working mother and a, you know, even in a loft apartment with twins that she had in her mid 40s is not a universal experience. It's very limited.
Mm-hmm. Relate to her that way too.
Huh?
I kind of found it hard to relate to her that way too, because I'm like, that's not really everybody's normal experience. You know, a lot of people don't have kids in their mid 40s, and they don't, you know, they're not these high-powered magazine editor or magazine workers. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, yes, I related to her somewhat because of her situation, not a lot, just because her situation was different than most normal people that we know.
Yeah. Do you hear my daughter?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I don't care. She can come down and get some Advil. All right. So there were some things that I related to, like children just bugging you when you need them to be silent.
Yes.
But there were some great lines. I felt like the first part of the book is broken up into two parts. There's New York and Pittsburgh. And the New York part of the book, I was like, yes, I felt that. Yes. So I like highlighted all these lines like, Mary Beth imagined a world in which a crazy day excused her from having to deal with dinner, excused her from anything. Like, yes. Like, yeah, absolutely. 100%. And then when he says, fine, I'll make the chicken with olives, everybody likes that. And she says,
first of all, who fucking likes that? Chicken and olives.
Mary Beth.
I can't even imagine what chicken with olives fucking is.
Well, and then presenting that to your children, they would laugh at you and sing away.
A bunch of other people's children. When other people's children are coming over, I'm like, Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Crazy bread.
Because then I know everybody's going to be happy. But he says he'll make the chicken with olives, and she says, thank you. She felt almost tearfully grateful to be off the hook and residually angry because she was always on the hook. And I felt that too. Like, I'm pissed that I have to be grateful about this little thing that I asked you to do that you're now doing. And I've got to act like it's the biggest fucking deal in the world. That is very relatable, I think, if you're married and have kids.
Yes.
So there were a lot of things like that. Like when she says that, like, he comes to visit, he finally gets to the hospital and she's so grateful that he's there. And then he tells her that he left the kids with like the weird neighbor. And she's immediately irritated, and so like the sentimentality that she felt like, oh gosh, he's here for me, like was immediately killed by the irritation that he didn't take care of the kids the way it was best to take care of them. Like, that's very real. Like, that's why I felt like the first part of the book in that way felt really, really relatable. The stack of mail that's on the counter when she comes home from the hospital, right? He hasn't taken care of the mail. And like the idea that like when you're cleaning your house, even when you don't feel good and even when it's not good for you to be cleaning your house, but like something is good about it, it just needs to get done, and you just, like that feeling of like, yes, it got done, like, okay, now I can go sit down. Like, that was all really relatable. And then she just leaves, and like all of that goes out the window, and I can't relate to a thing she says after that. That's what I felt.
To me, she kind of became insufferable to hang out with if you're hanging out with a character, because from the first page to when I stopped reading, my dog's in my face. Go away, dog. Go away. Lay down, Tucker. She almost seemed like this pity-me, victim-y kind of person. Like, she's a collector of slights. And I can't stand people like that. Like, when even she was just like, every Thanksgiving I've had has always been horrible.
That was the worst.
It's nothing. And what bugged me is that and you'd like to talk about this, Beth, like, where are the stakes? Like, if I don't feel like you really love your children or give two shits about your husband, you're leaving. You've created no real stakes for me.
Right.
And I never get that warm feeling from her about how she feels from her children. And I know that that's completely real, but I guess the author, Gayle Forman, needed to either ratchet up her level of depression or tone it down or something. It was like she was in this middling, I just don't like you kind of. That's how I thought of her.
Yeah, and it seemed really... Go ahead.
She seemed really dull in Philadelphia.
Yes!
You know what I mean? Like, just very dull. Everything was dull. I was like, where's the...
Yes.
I don't know, it was very descriptive and everything in the first part of the book in New York, and then all of a sudden it was just like, everything was gray. I don't know. That's just how I felt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great description. And I think that, like, even her kids, you know, she's got these twins. She's obviously more fond of Oscar than she is of the daughter. Because she talks about him in terms like, oh, he's the baby. I mean, it just seemed like he was the baby and he's the sweet one. And Liv is like too much. She doesn't look enough like them. And she's, you know, too independent or something. And I was like, wow, you hate your kid. Like, you hate your daughter more than you hate your son. It's so super obvious. And, yeah, I never got the idea that even leaving her kids was something that she was concerned about, other than the fact that she, like, left a responsibility somewhere. It wasn't like she really missed them. Even when she's writing letters to them, it's so trite. It didn't resonate at all. And I love letters more than anything in the whole world. If I see a book with letters in it, I'm like, yes, give it to me. I love it. I will read a whole book of letters. I have 3 volumes of Doris Lessing letters. Like, I am a nerd for some letters.
Is Persuasion your favorite, Jane Austen?
Yes, it is.
Clearly.
It totally is. It's the best one. Half agony, half hope. I almost got that tattooed on my chest. But yeah, like, the letters were useless. I mean, there was just like these little, she immediately became unrelatable for me. And that I didn't enjoy the book because of it. I didn't care. I didn't even think that she didn't even feel compelled to really go find her birth mother. I didn't even know that she was from Pittsburgh, and that's why she went to Pittsburgh until like halfway through the Pittsburgh section.
That was randomly kind of tossed in there. And I was like, oh, wait. Oh, she's from here. Okay.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like you said, there's no
have some kind of driving force, and it's like she didn't have any driving force. She just wanted to leave, and then all of a sudden she decided, oh, I'm going to go back. Okay. Doesn't make sense.
And the $25,000 that you just take out of the bank. I would not have a home to come back to if I did something like that. Ryan would burn it down. I'm not kidding. He would burn it down for the insurance money and it would be gone. That's crazy. It was crazy to me.
The author did something that a lot of authors do these days that bugs the shit out of me, and that's they have like 2-page chapters, and then every chapter has to be summed up with like a pithy little sentence that's oh so clever. And I just could never really get into the flow of the book because like every scene was super short, and then there had to be like this nice little bow wrapped on the end of every chapter, and I just started to be super annoyed.
Yeah. I think that's kind of one of the hallmarks of serious business YA. You know what I mean? Not real YA, like SRZ BZN ZYA, like serious business YA, like where they, where everything is supposed to be literary.
Yeah.
And the first time you read a book like that you read like what is my dog doing? She's like taking a crap on the stairs. But the first time you read something like that, it's like, oh wow, this is so good. I can imagine my children reading this like when they're 14 and really coming away with something great. And then if you ever go back to a book like that, you're like, this is the tritest piece of trash I've ever picked up. They're trying so hard. And yeah, that's how I feel sometimes about books like that. And I like Gayle Forman. Like my memory of reading her YA books is really, lovely. It's a good memory, but no, here's what I hated about the character. Did you notice how quickly she rushed judgments and how quickly she snapped at people? Like the doctor and like, I think one of the doctors in the hospital, he's like, let me check your heart. She's like, yeah, see if I still have one. And I was like, who talks like that? Just the doctor. Like, who's like so hateful all the time? He was super hateful. I hated it.
She wasn't a good character.
No, and I didn't like that she wouldn't try to figure out what was wrong, like with Elizabeth, with her relationship with her. I'm like, okay, so Elizabeth is like this person who is a main friend in her life, and then all of a sudden she's not, and we're like, okay, well, why aren't we hearing more about this? Like, there was more to the story, and I just wanted to know what it was, and we didn't hear it.
Right.
And it annoyed me.
Yeah, I think I figured out why Elizabeth doesn't like to talk to you, Mary Beth. So yeah,
Because you're cunty. Oh, sorry.
100%.
They say I am a huge Howard Stern fan, so I love that last night Howard Stern's name got mentioned on the presidential debates, and that's a drop he does all the time on the radio. It's Alexis Stewart, Martha Stewart's daughter, calling someone, she's so cunty. And I tried to use it at least once a day.
It's just a soundbite of Alexis Stewart that he just throws in.
Yeah. Somebody says something bitchy and they do the drop. Fred on the key on the control panel hits the drop and it says, so cunty.
Love it.
Ironic.
Yeah. That's exactly what she is. She talks about at some point that like how in the Lifetime movie version of this story, she's the villain. And I wanted to be like, yeah, you are. You're totally the villain. Everything you did was horrific. I can't even understand. Okay, here's the other question that I have. Her husband seems to be cool with it, what she did. If you're just watching this and you're online and you didn't read this book, her husband, she leaves her husband and children and for a month doesn't contact them. It doesn't say anything.
And takes the $25,000.
It takes $25,000. And at one point in the book, she's like, it's been nearly 3 weeks and I've been sitting in cafes daily doing nothing. And I was like, you're sitting in cafes for 3 weeks? There's other times where she's like not thinking about her kids, but she misses this, like the city of New York. So she goes and walks around Pittsburgh and like places that remind her of New York because she's missing it. And she never mentions like actually missing her children. It's bananas. I go on like a 5-day trip to San Diego where we're having parties and having a good time. And I'm like, oh God, my kids, I feel so bad. And she's like 4 weeks out just sitting around doing nothing with no one. And she barely even gives them a second thought. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not realistic.
It really makes no sense. I don't know any mother that would, a good mother that could do this and feel that way. It's bananas. It makes the whole book, like the whole premise, just feel like a complete lie, just a complete lie.
That's why I couldn't even read it. Like I read the blurbs and I read everything that I could outside of reading the book. And while yes, sometimes I do just want to drive, it's just that day and that minute and that hour. And I love my kids and I'm going to turn back around and go because I'm a human being and I have common sense. It's not realistic.
The thing is, if you're going to write a character that is not, what do you call it? I can't sympathize with her. I don't like them. An unsympathetic character. Hello. I've had wine. If you're going to give me an unsympathetic character, I need to feel like the author knows that they're unsympathetic, and I don't feel like that was her intention. I feel like she just thought every woman can relate to this, and this is just a woman kind of taken to an extreme because of a heart attack, and she thought that it was relatable, and it's not. So,
at least not in this way. I think that if maybe, and you guys can chime in here with what you think could have made it more relatable. I think that if maybe like finding her birth mother was integral to knowing what's going on with her heart, like her doctor was like, you really have to figure out your family history here. We don't know what's going on. You know, if it was something more life-threatening, or she was really honestly, truly concerned about her children's health.
Yeah.
And so the like desire to go find her birth mother trumps Sorry to use that word. That word's forever tainted. But it trumps the feeling that she needed to be home with her kids. Like taking care of her kids and being a good mother was going and doing this thing instead. And I don't think that women have to be fully defined by the way that they take care of their children or that they do take care of their children or whatever. I don't think that that's necessary. I mean, I'm with my kids literally 100% of the time. I mean, I homeschool. All right. They are always in my business. So I like get women that, you know, you want to take care of your kids, but I don't think that's what has to define who you are. It makes you a good mother or anything like that. I don't think that, but I think that the impetus to leave needed to come from a place that was less nebulous. She didn't even understand what she was doing. And how are we supposed to get it?
It was just weird. I felt weird about the whole thing. I was like, I don't know, this just isn't, it's just not believable. The whole storyline was like all choppy with this too. Why didn't she want to figure out who her birth mother was? What was the whole point of going to Pittsburgh? Like, I don't know.
It was. I was really going to be mad at her if she slept with that doctor.
Yeah.
Not because I wouldn't have been down for her being just totally a terrible character and just, you know, having an affair and just sealing the deal on me hating her, but because she had no plan to do anything. And so the fact that like you can sleep with somebody, you know, just like find a George Clooney-esque doctor and have an affair in the midst of what's going on, it would have been like ridiculous. But I was really looking forward to being that mad at her. I'm sad that it didn't happen.
Yeah, like you can write her to where I don't like her and where I don't agree with her, but then make her at least interesting. And I think Danelle was right, where she just said she was so dull. I was just like, shut up. I don't want to spend another 2-page chapter with you.
I wonder if that's like a holdover from YA. Like it's such a YA thing to do. I wonder if that's just, she's not really used to writing like adult fiction, whatever that means.
Well, if any author, editor, or agent is listening to us and you want to make the transition from YA to adults, grown old ladies, stop it.
Stay in your wheelhouse.
Know your lane.
Gayle Forman is an enigma because her first duo of books was really, really great. And then she wrote this second duo of books where the first book ends, it's called Just One Day, and then the next one is Just One Year, and it's about this girl who goes to Europe and spends one day with this like hot Shakespearean Austrian actor, and they totally do it in a warehouse, and they have this wonderful day in Paris, and it's great, and the way that they leave, and then it's over, and that she can't, like, she like halfway through the book she can't find him, he's gone, and she leaves Paris and goes back to America and never finds him again. It's shit. And so the second book is, everybody was anticipating, it was just 1 year. It was going to be about the year where in the first book, she's like growing and everything from this thing, from having spent a day with him. But they would eventually find each other or whatever. And you would see like this reunion. Oh no. The end of Just 1 Year ends where she finds him in Austria or Amsterdam, wherever he's living. I know those are totally different places. But anyway, she finds him and he opens the door and that's it. And people, I'm not kidding.
No,
there
just
were
one
riots. Exactly. So it was a major like thing. And she ended up writing a novella that tells you what happens in like, and I think it's like, it really is like just 1 week or something like that. That tells you like what happens when they finally meet, because it was such a shit place to stop a duo of books. Like it made zero sense. So yeah, she ended up like releasing a novella because I'm going to assume because we asked for it, but I don't really know what the reasons were.
How much writing did you do, Beth?
I might have written a nasty letter. I didn't do that. I wouldn't write that nasty letter. I'm having a hard time saying this right now online. Okay, Okay, so the way we rate books on Boozy Book Club is we give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then that translates to wine bottles, which we give out of 5. So thumbs up or thumbs down for Leave Me. Let's see them. Ooh, that's 4 thumbs down. You're going to get 1 wine bottle, Gayle Forman. That's an it didn't suck totally rating on Boozy Book Club. But we're not going to be recommending this. Not every book can be the hating game, you guys, all right?
I'm still having a hangover from that one.
I know. I loaned it to a friend, and she hasn't started reading it yet. She's super busy. She's building the house. And I want to be like, look, it's been 3 weeks. I love you. But you got to read that book because I need it back. Because
it takes like 2 days. It takes like 2 days. Just do it.
Occasionally I need to reread it. And you haven't. It's really bugging me. Let's talk American Gods. Woo! Yay! American Gods. My arms and hands look old. So old right now. Anyway, American Gods is great. I love it. Let's talk about it. I have some notes, but I want to hear you guys like your first impressions of the book. Did it surprise you at all? Like, was it what you anticipated it was going to be?
Sorry, I'm tweeting.
It was not what I anticipated.
Go ahead.
It was not what I anticipated it was going to be. I did not know what to expect. I didn't read the synopsis of it or anything like that. So I just kind of jumped in, and I loved it. It was a great book.
Yay!
It was probably one of my favorite books that I've read.
I had some expectations just from reading the synopsis, whatever. But it fulfilled all of my expectations and then some. I like to not know what's going to happen instead of being able to guess it. Nothing pisses me off more when I'm reading a book, when I can sit there and guess what's going to happen next. And I like books that make me think.
Yeah. I think that's why I like fantasy novels, because I don't really have like a whole lot of that like foreknowledge when I'm reading like a mystery or something. Like some people can figure it out really fast. I don't really have that, but I don't have that gene that figures stuff out. But fantasy novels are always a surprise for me. Like there's never, well, unless they're YA, there's never like a whole lot of like things that you can really totally figure out ahead of time with those kinds of books. So that's why I like fantasy. But Neil Gaiman's like a master. What do you think, Amy? Were you surprised by it?
I'm kind of like Danelle. I went in with no expectations at all, except that I knew that you had loved it, Beth. And I have to admit that, I really, really enjoyed it. I was suffering from walking pneumonia and bronchitis when I read it, so I was pretty high most of the time, which might be the best way to read this kind of book.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It already makes you feel high. Like there's enough imagery in it to make you feel like, oh shit.
I'm talking to a guy in a buffalo head. That's normal, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a huge credit to Neil Gaiman because he seemed so competent in what he was doing that half the stuff I didn't even understand, just because it's things that we're not that familiar with. I trusted him. I think that's huge for me. I need to feel like the author knows what they're doing, so I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah, absolutely. You totally feel like you're in safe hands with that story and not like it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. I Googled some of the gods because I was like, I see where the storyline's going, but I just wanted more information.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did that spoil anything for you?
It spoiled nothing. If anything, it made the text richer.
Yeah, I think that's very much the case. And I think that's normal. It's normal to be like, I don't know enough about Odin to understand why he has a glass eye. I think I do because I've seen Anthony Hopkins with the patch, but I'm not sure. And so I think it's normal to feel like you have to Google to figure out. And Neil Gaiman even says that at one point he was talking about Mad Sweeney and how he had 4,000 words or something written about Mad Sweeney's like life and all of the legends and myths surrounding him and where he came from and what he is and all that kind of stuff. Like it was written somewhere because he needed it, even though Matt Sweeney is like barely in it, but he had all of this backstory that he needed to like completely put out there. So
he's such a great character, though.
He is a great character. And the guy that is going to be playing him in the show on Stars is Porn Stash from Orange is the New Black.
Wait, he is? That's awesome.
Yes. And he's very tall and very large and very sweet. I know because I hung out with him one night.
Oh.
He's sweet.
Well, I texted you when I waited until like I saved the last 100 pages until this past week so I could be a little bit fresh. Mm-hmm. And I sent you a text, Beth, and I was like, Ian McShane is like he couldn't be more perfect as Wednesday. It's so amazing.
Absolutely perfect.
I know. I think when I was reading it, I was in my Christoph Waltz like
Inglourious Bastards type.
Yeah, I was in that mode, like my phase where he was everything. He was like every awesome villain that I'd ever imagined. And I really kind of saw Wednesday as Christoph. I see like how that sucks now, but like I still think sometimes I imagine his little weird little shimmies and stuff that I've seen Christoph Waltz do. Like I still imagine Wednesday doing some of those things, but the snippets that I've seen of Ian McShane as Wednesday, like even just the first image you see of him when he's on the plane and he says, it's my day, like it's Wednesday. And he goes, oh, it's my day. And he does this little sing-song thing with it. And it's genius. It's genius. Like, it's my day. It's just so perfect. It's so perfect. I love it. I can't wait. I cannot wait for that show. It's going to be great.
When does it come?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I just wondered.
Not till 2017. So I think the way Stars runs, I think it might be spring. But I'm not sure. I don't care. I'm not like super impatient. I got shit to do, but when it comes on, I'll be excited. A little bit more excited than I am for other shows that happen on Stars.
Yikes.
Oh, you're going to get some comments for that one.
No, Outlander fans have not watched Boozy Book Club this far in. Let's be honest.
Charlotte Marks isn't here.
Huh?
I said Charlotte Marks isn't here.
Oh, God.
Everyone's still pissed about season 2 anyways.
Oh, man.
Well, sane people are pissed, but other people.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people still look back on it with fondness, and I want to go, what? We watched the same thing.
And some people thought that Trump won the debate last night. So, there's a little crazy everywhere.
Depends on what reality you live in.
The Venn diagram of people that think that Trump won and people that are into Outlander season 2, it has got like lots of overlap. It's like some super cleave boobs. I have a feeling that one is like a big Eye of Sauron.
Huge.
Courtney and I
Can
live
I
in
just
Texas.
interrupt to say that I love that Kate came out. I mean, I'm a Hillary supporter. Hello, my name is Amy. And the Claire came out, I don't even know how do you say her name? Came out on Twitter, Katrina, and said, I'm with her. She's for Hillary Clinton. And Sam's was so mealy-mouthed, like, wish I could watch the debate, but I got to go to work. And good luck, America.
First of all, Sam is not an American citizen.
Well, neither is she, right?
No, she is.
Oh, she is.
I think so. She's lived here. She lived here for a long time. I'm going to assume she's a citizen because she wasn't working. Let's be real. A whole lot of work. I think she's a citizen. I think but I might be wrong about that. I think she's probably got more.
Tweet us, Katrina, if you can tell us.
Yeah, please, Katrina Balfe. While you're watching Boozy Book Club, let us know if you have American citizenship. I think she is. I might be wrong about that, but she's lived here for a while. I think she's got more invested in whether or not America does anything. But Sam is the worst. He cannot be more. He's so on the fence that the fence is fused to his ass crack. He does not even have any balls to say one thing one way or the other. After he got reamed that one time for retweeting someone who used the C word, and he apologized to the fandom because Terry told him he should.
That was about an Andy Murray tennis match.
Backbone made out of cotton candy is all I gotta say. That's ridiculous. Keep your retweets.
So if a goofy dude bro can play the king of men, then maybe the ultimate bro that you met can play Shadow. Son of...
Good point.
We were talking earlier about the cast for the new show, and I think the guy that plays Shadow, Ricky Whittle, is great. He's got a great personality, but it's so opposite of Shadow's. He's just like a frat guy, but really hot.
Weird.
Like crazy hot.
Is he big?
Hot. Muscly wise, yeah.
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 Because is Shadow big, or was I just imagining that?
Everywhere he went, everyone's like, "You're a big dude. You're a really big guy."
Yeah, Shadow's supposed to be large. Shadow's supposed to be imposing. But because his personality is not imposing, there's the like dualness of who he is. Because he's this thing that he doesn't know he is, and he's just a regular guy.
Which I didn't. Oh no, you
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, you said he doesn't know what he is, and I feel you were just talking a minute ago about not knowing kind of what's happening in the book until it's happening. Like the whole time I'm wondering like who is Shadow, but it wasn't like I was angry that it wasn't being answered. And then I forgot about it for a little bit. And then within a page, towards the end, he asks, "Who am I?" And then a page later you find out. I was just like, God damn, I was staring me in the face the whole time and it never occurred to me.
Yeah, it was like one of the biggest duh moments, but also like a big just shock. And
See, I thought it had like a Hercules thing going on. Like they kept referencing, like after we found out spoiler alert, Mr. Wednesday is Odin, and they kept referring to how big Shadow was. I was like, this sounds like Hercules, and he's like the half human son of a god. And
that's
I mean,
I was kind of going that way too.
That part of it's kind of, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's kind of like, duh, of course he is. He's obviously not just who he thinks he is. That's kind of evident from the beginning, because the first thing that happens to him is he gets this the Buffalo Man dream. And then Wednesday starts talking to him on the plane, and you're like, you're not normal. There's more going on than just this guy's picked you up to be his bodyguard. I love though that Wednesday's keeping him in the dark the whole book. But if you go back and start reading, you see all the ways he's not keeping him in the dark. He's just not being explicit about it. And it's really, really fascinating. Like I've read it twice and listened to it once, and listening to it, even you get more of like what he's doing. It's really, really fascinating. And this show is going to have a lot of that stuff that Wednesday's doing, like with the Zoya sisters, whose names I can't pronounce and stuff like that. Like the conversations that they have those things are going to be on screen. So the show's not going to be fully just the text, just figuring, we're not all going to be in the mystery with Shadow. So we're going to see some of that, which I'm really excited about.
The Petronyanya sisters.
Yeah, I have no idea how to say their names. I should, but I don't.
How do you say the guy with the hammer? Zernabog? How do you say
Zernabog.
that?
Chernabog?
Chernabog?
Yeah.
Chernabog? Okay.
Yeah.
I listened to it. I didn't read it. I listened to it, which thank the Lord, because I'm horrible with pronunciation, and I would have been like, so they spelled it out for me.
Once it's set in your mind, it's set. It is. No matter how many times they say Culloden, I'm like, it's Culloden.
Yes. I don't want to hear Leary again. It's log
Right.
hair.
Yeah.
So, were you guys pleasantly surprised? My biggest thing for me about American Gods, and we're not really delving into the text a whole lot because it's Boozy Book Club and we just cover the surface of how we feel about things, okay? But for the most part, my biggest takeaway with the first time I read this book was that it felt indelible. Like it had always been around. The book had always existed. And for some reason, my high school teachers didn't make me read it. And I was kind of pissed that I didn't read it like in 1996. It wasn't written until 2001. But it feels like one of those books that's so old that even though there's modern technology in it, it just feels like a book that's always been around to me. And that was, I remember when I put it down, that's how I felt the most about it. And then I realized that I think that it was just like a realization of the main idea, which is that the old gods are fighting the new gods of, credit card and traveling and modernization and technology and all that stuff. That that's probably what I'm feeling like has always existed, or it's always existed, at least in my life. But the way he wrote it just made me feel like it was just a book that everybody should read because it's such a truism. What did you guys come away with, like, when you got done reading it?
I kind of felt like it was time neutral. Like I was reading it in 2016, and I felt like it could have been happening in 2016.
Yeah,
like you thought it could happen anytime, and I was kind of wrapped up in the present. Like this could happen today. He didn't do anything so specific where it dated it. Like he didn't talk about he had to pull up the internet on AOL.
Yeah, there's no Nokia flip phones.
Do you have a telephone connection so I can get on the internet, sir? I mean, It was none of that. It was, it was very good the way he did that, like technology neutral referencing. So it's there, but it's not necessarily like he pulled out his iPhone 7.
Yeah. Which I'm getting tomorrow. I want to get my go phone tomorrow. So excited.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt it was really just like, it felt like it felt like it was a classic to me. And I'm kind of like you. I'm like, why did I not read this before? It seems like maybe I should have read this a long time ago, but it really wasn't written that long ago.
No.
I mean, it was like Courtney said, it was not meant to be in a certain time era. It could have been in 1980. It could have been in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an interesting premise that we're a relatively new country, and what happens to the gods when they get carried over. I always wonder how people kind of like, that's what my book is going to be about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
But I also loved how he paid tribute to pretty much every culture that's out there, especially in the wake of, people like Lionel Shriver going on about how she feels she can't write about things other than white people or it's cultural appropriation because Lionel Shriver is a horrible woman. But I just love that about, it wasn't, he paid respect to the native people that were here and their gods. So it wasn't just like the American gods were all new gods. And I had a lot of respect for the book. I respected the research that he must have done, the originality to come up with this premise, his ability to juggle multiple characters, all of different motivations, his ability to surprise us, like some really wonderful reveals, not just who the father was, but then who Loki is. And like, again, that was staring me in the face the whole time.
Yeah, his name is Loki.
His name is Loki.
Yeah.
And when he said, the voice of Mr. World sounded so familiar to him, I just never, it was in those last, I would say 100 to maybe 50 to 100 pages that I was just like, God. But I was happy that I hadn't figured it out, because sometimes when you figure it out beforehand, it's not as fun.
No, it's not. It's one of those things that's why I think the first time I ever wrote about American Gods was when I was talking about how badly I wanted to reread it. I had read it And I needed to find the time that summer to like reread it again, because it has those really, really great moments. And knowing what you know now, going back to it is so much richer. It's one of those books that going back to it, you're not going to be missing out. You're not, it's always going to be showing you something new. And that's one of the great things about it, even though low key or whatever. It's,
Right.
It's got so much in it that you're not disappointed going back to it. And like I said, I've gone back to it 3 times. It's doesn't disappoint on more readings. So, but I'm biased.
See, and I knew the only thing I knew from Loki was from our T Hitty committee, which was not a lot. So
Yeah.
like maybe, I don't know. Should I call Lorna? I don't know.
No, it's totally different. But yeah, that's one of the good reveals that you're like hitting yourself in the face, because you're like, what's wrong with me? I don't even know what's wrong with me. I'm an idiot. I shouldn't even be reading this book. They should let somebody as stupid as me read it.
Even though I had those underfeelings of Hercules when they were going in that last part, going through everything, it was still just really amazing. Like the whole process and his experience, like experiencing his experience, it didn't deter from the book at all.
Yeah. And I think that's how I feel about the Coming to America sections, like all those sections that Amy, you were just talking about, where he's paying to all those different cultures. And even like the Irish one where they, where Mad Sweeney's talking about how they leave out milk and stuff for the leprechauns, and that those are real legends, and those are real things that are a part of the majority of our heritage. Everybody from America's got this mixed bag of heritage for the most part. And we all kind of draw from some of those different heritage. We don't recognize like probably how strong they were when they got here. And I'm a history dork, so I love the idea that like everything he's writing, even if I don't believe any of these gods are real, at the very least, the historicity of the Coming to America parts is reality. It's a real thing that we have in our past. So those are my favorite parts of the book. And I think they'll probably be some of the best parts of the show when it comes out, is seeing some of the Coming to America stuff, which is going to be, they're going to blow it out of the water. It's going to be so good.
I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
Especially the brother-sister pair from Africa that comes to the
Yeah.
Brutal.
so good. Like probably one of the best Coming to America sections of the book.
Yes. And especially because the woman that she becomes, whose name I can't remember, Mama.
Well, her name changed so many times.
Yeah. The one that she's finally as, I can't even remember what it is, Mama, whatever it is. It's so terrible for me. But normally when you see a character like that, you see some like hoodoo lady in New Orleans, like in the movie The Skeleton Key or whatever, you see her in that frame of reference. You see her as the old crazy hoodoo lady and the former slave or whatever, and who's got a withered arm and long gray dreadlocky hair or whatever, and you see her as that, and she's always been that in your consciousness. That's all the narrative you get about women like that. But he gave us her entire history so that we're seeing that woman, that old crone, as the young woman that she was when she was taken from her brother, at the same time that we're seeing her give this wisdom to this white lady. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he's not skimping on any of that in the way that so many other pieces of art or so many other like mediums tend to do with things like it. And I love that about this book, that there is no skimping on the reality of who a full person would be. I love it. If you haven't read it, if you're listening to this and you have not read American Gods yet, please go into it. So good. So anything else that you want to say about American Gods before we say sayonara? We're going to talk about it a lot because we're going to be covering the show. I'm going to be covering the show. And we might do hangouts about it if other people are interested. But anything else you guys?
I think, like you said, Beth, I think, like you said, he gave us the whole history of these characters, but he didn't overdo it either. Like some authors like to write so many pages of just filler stuff, right to the point. He didn't waste words, but he also gave us enough of their history. I loved that.
Yeah.
It was good.
And I think I said in the Goodreads, the comments that we have for the book, how it felt so David Lynchian. Like, I love that part of it because I'm a huge David Lynch nerd. I'm a huge Twin Peaks nerd.
Yes.
And when I was getting into it, I was like, this is so amazing. Like, there's something there for everybody.
Yes. That's the thing too. It's 100%. David Lynch is a perfect, a perfect comparison. I can't think of words. But yeah, it absolutely feels like that. You can see the little weird Lynchian characters like making little cameos in this 100%. Even Lakeview. Yeah. Even Lakeview, Wisconsin is
totally Lynchian. It's Twin Peaks.
Completely. Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I mean, who doesn't like Twin Peaks? It just pity idiots. So it's 100% like just your boyfriend will like it, like your little brother will like it. It's such a fantastic book. People that don't like it are, I don't know. I can't. People that don't get something out of it. I don't understand how you can't. I don't want to say that people that don't like it are dumb, but that's how I feel.
They are. Yeah.
You're dumb.
Totally.
That's how I feel. I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to read. That's how I feel. Like, too bad for you.
Library card.
You have bad taste. All right.
Beth is taking away library cards right now.
Yeah. None for you. Okay. That's it, guys. American Gods, if you loved it, we're going to be reviewing it and spending a lot of time on it when the show comes out and kind of before. So if you haven't read it yet, you still have time. For our October books for Boozy Book Club, we're going to read something cool, and they changed the release date. So I'm really sad about that. But guess what's coming out? Guys, new Melina Marchetta, which I know that I get excited about lots of things. And I tell you that lots of different types of authors are great and wonderful, and you should totally read them. And I mean that. I don't say things that I don't mean. But Melina Marchetta is in my top 5. Easily, probably my favorite author. She is fabulous. She's the kind of person that writes YA that you will not hate, Amy. And it is amazing.
Lies. Not true.
You have to read her.
No, I'm not kidding. Her fantasy series called The Lumiere Chronicles. It's literally my favorite series of all time.
It's fantastic.
She's coming out with a new book.
Do it.
It's called Tell the Truth, Shame the Devil is her new book. It is not YA. It is adult. It's a thriller. And I'm telling you, there's something about the way that she puts words together that is Jesus-in. It's just like Jesus did it. It's like Jesus-in is a new adjective that I made up. I'm going to give it to my dad. He's a preacher, and I think he could probably use it. But Jesus-in is the way Melina Marchetta writes. She puts words together, and that's what this one's going to be. It comes out on October the 11th in the U.S., so if you're in the U.S., you can't get it until then. But early in the month, if you want to read our optional book, it's called The Regulars, and I don't remember who wrote it, something with a G. But The Regulars is kind of like a little bit like The Hating Game in terms of like the feel of the book, but it has a different premise. So it's about 3 friends, I think, who are considered like regular girls. They don't have a whole lot to recommend them, and that's what it's about. It's called The Regulars. It's supposed to be funny and interesting, kind of chick-litty. So get The Regulars anytime you want, and then get Tell the Truth, Shame the Devil by Melina Marchetta, because I said so, on October the 11th, and that's going to be our October books. We've got other awesome stuff down the pipe coming in November and December, so you guys watch out for more awesome Boozy Book Club stuff.
November is going to be so exciting.
November is going to be ridiculous.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's a very That's Normal type of month. And also Amy suggested the other book that we're reading, our optional book on November. It's going to be very fun as well.
Homegoing.
So, yes, Homecoming.
Jezebel, just if you're readers of Jezebel, after you check That's Normal, you can go to Jezebel, and they have Homegoing listed as like their top 25 books to read, one of them of the fall.
Looks so good.
It got good. I mean, it's got Kirkus reviews. It's really got a lot going on for it. But that's November, you guys. I was going to push it to October, and it just needed to stay in where it was because the other book for November, exciting, but not so heavy. So we needed to keep them separate. But anyway, enjoy October. The regulars, Tell the Truth, Shame the Devil. We will see you at the end of the month. Not quite Halloween, a little bit before. And we will see you then. In the meantime, American Gods got, everybody gave it thumbs up, right?
Yes.
Thumbs up.
American Gods got 5 wine bottles, you guys. So get drunk and read it, or get high and read it like Amy did, and really enjoy the Buffalo Man.
Do what you got to do.
He's better when you're high. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time, and adios. Bye. Everybody say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.